Hello, E.
Hi, Susan. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Yeah, just giving everyone a couple of minutes. Bimbing was and we were trying to figure out like who should sign in as as the NCO. So
Okay.
there was a little bit of a delay.
Morning, guys.
Morning, Sharam.
Just a question from Yi. Yi, are you also relocating to the US?
Yes.
Are you packing or you're already there?
Not yet. Yeah, because it's early in the morning, so I still be able to join this meeting. And after this meeting, I will start the preparation,
Right.
packaging some family errands.
Right. Yeah. Have a safe journey.
Thank you.
Sorry, just setting up the screen. Got Bimbing, Juncheng, and Shui. Hopefully, Josh will be able to join us soon. Can everyone see the screen okay?
Yeah.
Um, Feature scope document. Yeah, so I've put two items on the agenda today. We have you on the call today. So Binbin have written down like a more detailed Ratify V2 scope document where we have like areas of like deprecation, refactoring, plugin improvements. If we can go through that today and we can have a little bit of a discussion would be good. Um, and the other topic that I've put down is there's KubeCon happening. I think there's two KubeCons happening this month. One in Europe and the other one is in India. Is that correct, E?
Yes, I think India is in December. I didn't remember the exact date, but there will be two KubeCon. Yeah.
Yeah. So quite busy in November. So I thought there will be some of us attending. Like I think Josh would be at the KubeCon in EU, and Lucky would be at the KubeCon in India. So I just wanted to collect some topics, like given that we'll have folks attending the KubeCon, what are the some of the information or what are some of the things that we want to advertise about Ratify? So I've collected some like, we would want to advertise our new capabilities, let people know that we have built-in cosign verifier support, with trust policy similar to notation. Earlier this year, we've shipped the multi-tenancy support. A lot of these capabilities, we haven't received a lot of feedback. So we're seeing if folks attending the KubeCon, they can help us amplify that we have these new capabilities and hope to collect some feedback. And then looking forward, we have all the proof of concept. Sure, you have the Docker wrapper, the Docker plugin for Ratify, and we have the containerd POC in our report. Just also looking for some feedback on, what validations do customers need, and what phase are they looking to integrate this validation. So I'll start collecting this list, and then we can forward this list on to the KubeCon attendees, and then they can give us some feedback after the session. Yeah, so Bin, should we get on with the first topic?
Yes, thank you.
Would you like to share screen? Because then you have the control to scroll through the doc.
Yeah, I can do that. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to pass the host to you.
Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think we already have a quick discussion on this proposal, maybe uh, in a previous community meeting. So this one, I just add more like context and like the limitations and the more detailed solutions for each item. So basically we want to deliver a Ratify V2 maybe the in in a in a few months. So uh so the current limitation of the Ratify is that firstly when we design the V1 we don't have a clear plan on what we want to do, and also we have a lot of like uh, limitations and for example, like our external plugins, and also we have a lot of like coupled like implementation of executor and other stuff. So basically, we want to make the Ratify more maintainable and extensible for our new contributors, because recently we have more and more contributors are working on Ratify. So we want to have a more clean code base, a cleaner code base for our contributors. And also at the same time, we want to improve the performance and the usability of the Ratify, because we also have some feedback that the Ratify need to configure a lot of stuff to like deploy or like update the configuration. So we want to make that much easier for our users. And so basically the scope of the V2 will include three aspects. First one is the system refactoring. Second one is the deprecation of features, and the third one was new features. But for the new features, we will not focus on this on the first prototype of V2, but we will need to consider the refactoring and deprecation for these new features in case we will not have like breaking change when we add those new features in the future. So far, any questions? Okay, so
Amy, one question. What does this system refactory mean?
the system refactoring means I think it's more like refactoring our code base and the workflow to like, for example, I mentioned our executors are coupled with other components, so they are not like like independent. So we want to refactor them like more like independent between each other.
Okay, so it's more about the
Look,
code refactoring and also some design refactoring, right? And also,
yes.
I think it will also include in the uh, unit testing, right? It will be easy for testing.
Yes, so the unit test will be the result of the refactoring. So if we have a good code base, then the unit test should be easy to like update or add.
Okay.
Yeah, we can call it out. as a intentionally like refactoring to enable better test coverage.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'll add that. And yeah, let's first go through the refactoring section. So I listed a few items. First one is the cache refactoring. So currently we have three limitations right now. One is that the external and internal file files are not sharing the same in-memory cache. They can share the Redis, the distributed cache, but not the in-memory cache because external verifiers are running a different process. So this could lead to like the data inconsistency and performance issues. And specifically, if users have like heavily depend on the external verifiers, so then the cache will not help for them because every time we create a external plugin, we will create a new in-memory cache, and then it will be removed after the verify is done. So actually, the cache will not help them. And also another limitation is that OCI store behind the oral store is not processed. So currently, we see some like race conditions like panic because we like both processes are accessing the same like index file. So this is something we need to fix. And for the HA mode, we used to recommend our customers to like use our Redis and Dapper solution, but recently we got feedback that they think Redis plus Dapper deployment is a bit heavy, so they want to just have the Redis without the Dapper. So this is something we also need to consider in the cache refactoring. So basically, the solution would be, firstly, we want to remove the Dapper dependency, and then in this case, Ratify will access Redis directly in HA scenario. But actually, yeah, in HA scenario, we can also just use the in-memory cache, like the customers we just like synced. But if the cluster is much more larger, then I think they may need to use the like distributed cache like Redis. So then we should just remove the Dapper middleware. And the second one for the race condition, like in the OCI store, and also for the share new cache. So we may have three options. One is to just stop using the cache in external files. So this is the simplest solution, but probably will impact the performance. And the second one is that we do not share cache. And yeah, it's also simple, but but there is no performance improvement. If it will just work as the current way, the performance will, I think it will be the same, but it will fix the oral store or the OCI store like a race condition. But if we want to bring the performance improvement in this refactoring, we may need to consider some like IPC mechanism to share the cache like among the internal and external verifiers. And one example is that we can use the mmap, or we can use socket or pipe to share the cache. So this option will be more complex, but probably can bring some like performance improvement. Yeah. Any questions on this cache refactoring?
I have one question. Uh, as you mentioned, the proposed solution want to remove dependency. So I'm not sure whether any impact to the user for this
Uh,
removal.
the impact I think the impact is positive on the user side. So basically, they don't need to deploy the depper. They just need to deploy the Redis if they want to use the distributed cache as our like cache backend.
There is no other
Yeah,
uh,
on the user
impact.
side, I think it's always positive, but from like developer side, or we need to like do more refactoring because with the dapper dependency, it's easy for us to manage all different like cache. But without dapper, we need to consider how to wrap the Redis like API calls.
Okay. Okay, so this will simplify the installation as we do not depend on Dapper for the HA solution, right? From the
Yeah.
from the function point of view, there's no impact to the user.
Yes, because the Redis is the actual cache backend. The dapper is not like storing any data.
Okay.
Hey Susan, do you have a
Yeah,
question?
yeah. My suggestion is just to add the priority. Like they all seem to be good improvements. But given the time constraint, like if we want to have a V2 in a couple of months, or at even the prototype, like we're happy to implement everything, but I think due to the time constraint, there's only like a selected few that we can take. And given the cost of like they say the IPC mechanism to share cache among internal and external, we have to evaluate what is the customer need for this right now. So my suggestion is to like the proposed solution, label the solution with the priority. So then we can
Yeah,
pick which one is in scope.
yeah, that makes sense. Also in this meeting, we can discuss the priority for different items because we may not have the same idea on the priorities for
Yeah,
each one.
exactly.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so let's go to the next one, the policy provider refactoring. So yeah, we have some limitations on the current policy provider. One is that the policy evaluation workflow is covered within the executor. So if we want to update or add in a new policy provider, we will need to like update the executor workflow. Like like for example, for the verify and the store, we just focus like most changes are just focused on the verify or store code base. But for the policy engine, we need to update the executor as well. So this is not good for like unit test or the feature extension. And also the legal policy and the config policy provider, they return different types of results. So this might like lead to confusion when users are switching between like two providers. And also for the config policy, we have some limitations and bugs. Uh, I remember when we uh, implemented the legal policy provider, our first idea is that we will like use legal policy in the future and deprecate the config policy because the legal policy already fixed those limitations and bugs. But our recent feedback is that I think maybe a lot of customers are still using the config policy and they think this is much easier than the regular policy to set up. So probably we will not deprecate the config policy and we'll keep supporting them. And in that case, if we want to keep supporting config policy, we may need to fix those limitations or bugs in the configure policy provider.
Will we make
So
the regular policy provider the default though in V2?
uh, so you mean the Rego and or the configure?
Rego, like right now the
Uh,
default one is the the default, right? The
yeah, I
built-in
know.
one.
I know we can make the Rego at default one, but I think the problem is that we want to make sure like everyone will use the Rego. If they still want to keep using the config policy, then it will be the problem that those bugs or limitations.
Yeah, I'll review the issues. Like I want to know if these issues exist because config policy is the default, or is it because they prefer using config policy?
So first, like we can take a quick look. Yes, like for example, the nested references. So this is not supported by the config policy.
Mm.
And second one, multiple signatures verification. Yeah, it's also not supported. So those two are limitations. And probably this one is a bug. Oh yes, this is the one we want to decouple nested references from verified. Yeah. Okay, so these three are more like limitations on the config policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if user prefer using the config policy and they want to try like like those features, one what our we can suggest them to use the switch to the Rego policy, but I don't know if that's a good way from the customer side because I know the Rego policy requires at least some knowledge on the Rego language, not just like for the config policy, it's a JSON file. It's very like straightforward to edit.
Yeah. I feel our previous thinking is that if we provided a good library or good default
Example.
regular policies, that the customer don't need to play
Okay.
around with it too much. That if we
Yeah.
have a set of default policies that could satisfy like 90% of the customer. And just to confirm, so currently config policy is still the default, but in V2, like have we received customer feedback that they want to continue using config policy and they don't want to use regular policy? Because previously we were thinking that we're going to make regular policy as the default in V2.
Yes. So at least from Xinhe's feedback, he is I think he prefers using the config policy because it's simpler. But I also suggested him to use the Rego policy for some user scenarios. But uh, but at least they are still using the config policy for now. Yeah, so go. I think for this one, yeah, we can maybe follow up offline. And one more is about the configuration refactoring. So yeah, so firstly, we have a feature gap between our CRI and the service because we like for the KMP feature, we and some verifiers, we always when we like add a new feature, we always just implement the feature for the service side. But for the CRI, uh, they there is no support yet. For example, the KMP. So I think we need to configure refactor our configuration, and so that they can those features can be supported by our CRI. And another improvement might be on the our store. So currently we only support one host providers, and we probably need to support multiple host providers, or even just like update the configuration, but the support can be added maybe in the future, so that we will not make any breakage changes in the future. And also, I remember our side one. Oh yeah, so Alibaba is just adding a new host provider. So I'm thinking if we want to support, but they don't mention they want to support like multiple host providers, but it's probably one feature we can provide in the future.
Yeah. I think if we have PRs or issues that we can link to in this limitations to show that there's customer need for improvement, it'll help us prioritize.
Okay, we have one great issue for tracking the multiple host providers. I can add that link.
Bimian, I have one question. So will this refactoring impact the current implementation by Alibaba Cloud?
Uh, no, I don't think it will. Yeah, there is no difference. I, if you are talking about host providers, I think it will on the user side it will be a very minor change on the config. Like for our store, we have a field called host provider. So we probably just update it to host providers. So it will take a list of like host providers instead of just one item. And that's maybe the only like update on the user side.
From the I mean the one vendor side, because Alibaba Cloud will introduce a new host provider, right? Uh,
Yes.
with what we are going to do in V2, will this impact their implementation? I mean,
Oh, no, no.
what,
Oh,
what?
I mean, this will just support like multiple instead of just one single host provider, but it will not impact the existing like implementation of each one.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
there is no need for the different vendor to do some implementation in V2, right? It's just
Uh,
yes,
yes, right.
sorry, clarification E. So the implementations for each different cloud, they're focused on like the like token exchange logic, and we capture that in a like you're the authentication provider, and we cache that in the Ratify framework, and the framework currently only supports one auth provider. But if we added capability for the Ratify framework to allow multiple provider, it's just like we can match this repo with this auth provider. It's the capability is at the Ratify level.
Yeah.
Each cloud provider just have to implement the authentication provider logic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we can take this as an example. So, yeah, for each Aura store, there should be only one auth provider for now. Like for example, the Azure Workload Identity. But if we want to specify multiple, like for example, like Azure Workload Identity or Azure Manager Identity, we need to maybe apply multiple Aura stores with different auth providers. But with this support, we can just specify like all of them in the same Aura store.
okay. Okay. Yeah.
And the last one is reorganize our code base. So basically, it's more about the one is that we want to remove our external plugins implementation in the Ratify repo because I believe we will add more and more external plugins and which will add more and more dependencies. So, and also every time we release the Ratify main repo, that means we also release the external plugins, but actually they are independent, I think. So, and the second one is we want to reorganize our overall code base because we have a lot of files or folders in the root directory, and also we didn't clearly differentiate between the external and internal like packages. So that's we want to refactor. So basically, we will move the external plugins to one separate repo or multiple separate repo. Yes, that what can be discussed. But the basic idea is that we want to move those external plugins out of the Ratify main repo. And second one, we will reorganize our code base to have a clear separation between based on the functionalities and user scenarios. Okay, so that's all on the refactoring part. If there's no question, I will move on to the deprecation side. Yeah, for the deprecations, it will be pretty straightforward because for those deprecation features, we already have announcement on our Ratify website before. So it's just remove code and we will suggest users to switch from the deprecated feature to our new features. So the first one is the certificate store. We already have the KMP, so it will be easy to for users to migrate. And the second one is the legacy cosine verifiers. Yeah, we also have the new cosine verifiers support multiple keys and key managements, and also we have new trust policy designed for the cosine verifier. So we will suggest users to use the new cosine verifier instead of the legacy one. And also we have a deprecated license checker verifier. It's an external verifier, and we already have a new one, the new spam verifier. So it will do everything that license checker verifier can do. So we will recommend the users to move to the new spam verifier. And the last one is about the name and type fields in our verify report and configuration. So because in V1, our initial design on the configuration and verify report there is no type or name. So when we introduce both, then the meaning I feel they are confused on the implementation side and the user side. So it's kind of misleading for both developers and users. So we want to fix this in our V2 design. And then the name will be the name of the verify report or the verifier. The type will be, I think name and type are very clear, but now we are kind of misuse those two fields. And yeah, that's all on the application side. Any questions?
Yeah, looks good to me.
Okay, cool. So for new features, yes, because our V2 is not focusing on the adding new features. It's more about like reflecting our fundamental stuff. So that will be easier for us to add new features. But during the refactoring, we may consider this incoming features. So in case we in case we like we should to confirm our like new implementation is extensible so that we will not have any new breaking changes when we add these new features. Otherwise, we will have a V3. So that's what I want to avoid. I just list a few features, but I think we have more features, and as Freeman suggested that we can probably move this to our roadmap and add a link to the V2 roadmap instead of listing in this design doc. Okay, so yes, that's everything on the refactoring and the deprecations. So yeah, and for the priority, probably we will not make the decision for each one. Maybe I can follow up offline for the priority for each one, and I can add maybe one more section. Oh, no, not one more, just one more field on the priority for each item.
Yeah, Pimpin, I think you can update the PR with the priority, and then we can just like you can propose a priority and we can comment on that.
Yeah, I'll do that. Okay, I'll stop sharing and move.
Timmy, I have one more question.
Yeah.
I just mentioned that the unit test, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe after refactoring, we can we will also considering improving the code coverage for the quality purpose. Another thing is that I'm thinking whether there is a need to update some document related to the design documents. For example, I think one of the goal for the refactoring is also for user to easy integrate Ratify with their own customized providers or plugins, right? And this is also the benefits that Ratify provided an extensible framework. So maybe we also needed to update some developer document or design document so that user will be easy to understand the new framework of V2 and easy to do the implementation for their customized plugins.
Yes, that makes sense. But I think for the doc update is a continuous work on our side. Maybe it's not just for the V2. Even before V2, we should keep updating our documentations. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah,
after V2 prototype, I will also update our documentations on all the V2 like refactoring and how to migrate from V1 to V2 for the customer.
yeah. I think if we already have a document base for the developers, so once we once we complete some changes on the way to framework or some design, we can we also needed to update those documents. Yeah.
Actually, I have one more question. So the doc update that you are referring to is the Ratify web or something else?
I think on the website we have a document for user, right? They are using
Yes,
Ratify and
yes.
configuring Ratify. I think there are another type of document for user to developing plugins, right? For based on Ratify's
Oh,
extensible
yeah.
framework. I mean the developer document.
Okay. Yeah, I feel that's more about the like specification, like the notation side. But on the Ratify, I remember we have some specs before, but recently we have more like the design doc instead of the spec. So yeah, probably we need to consider that as well.
Yeah, we can discuss later. The case I'm thinking is that if a new contributor or a new organization, they want to bring their own plugin, whether it is easy for them to do that. So we may need to provide some kind of document for them to start with, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you, Binbin. Does anyone else have any feedback? We'll move on to the next topic then. Let me share my screen again. Back to the agenda. Can everyone see the screen? Hi, Josh.
I can see it.
Cool. The next topic, Josh, you just joined at the right time.
Oh, perfect
we
timing.
were
Excellent.
the next agenda was that I wanted to check like who is going to the KubeCon, and so there's two KubeCons coming up, one in Europe and one in India, and this list that I've started here is, for folks attending the KubeCon, we can send like a list of ask from Ratify to them, just, to, if they get a chance, they could help us advertise the Ratify new capabilities and help us gather some feedback on like, what type of validation people are performing right now and what are the integration point that they're looking for. So Josh, are you going to the one in Europe?
I'll be in the North America one next month, or next week. Sorry, next week. The Europe one is undecided. If I can get a CFP accepted, I might be, which is in April of next year.
Okay, cool. So the first section is, when our PMs or devs get a chance, what are the new capabilities that we want to advertise? So this year, I think we've shipped enhancements to the cosign verifier. Binbin worked on the multi-tenancy support, and Junchan have integrated with the Notary plugin to support the timestamping signatures, and coming soon, the certificate revocation list. Is there anything else that we should add to the new capabilities list? Okay, so I guess this is all the major features that we want to invite our customers to try out.
I wonder if the
Go ahead.
new KMP is a major feature.
Yeah, so I think that one may be captured from the cosign verifier, because cosign uses keys, right? And the new KMP supports, like, it's the implementation for the cosign verifier. So if the customer try out the new cosign verifier, they would be configuring the KMP.
Is there documentation for that happy path for cosign with the verifier? Does cosign have a document to follow to walk through that?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me add a link. If I can, so I have the link in the OneNote. Oops. Yeah, every time I copy, it tries to show up as an image, but I'll add to the meeting notes with the link.
Okay,
We
awesome.
can just like send these to people.
Yeah, hopefully I should have a good opportunity. So I'll be doing booth duty for KubeCon, so in the Microsoft booth. Um, and I'll be doing kind of like the whole supply chain. I'll be talking about copacetic and notary and Ratify, of course. And so I'll have probably a lot of extra time, so I can definitely, showcase these as people come up to it. And these are also good things to mention. We have a 10-minute slot for a demo. Um, so I can mention these as well. And at least provide links to the documentation. I won't be able to run through, like every verifier scenario in 10 minutes. I'm not that good. But I can definitely link to these that are important to the team to make visible.
Yeah, thanks, Josh. Sajay says good luck to you.
Thank you, Sajay.
And the next section is, what feedback or well, what we should work on, in V2 and in the future. What kind of customer questions shall we ask so they could help us prioritize our like maybe it's like new plugin we should look into or attestation support. Or the question could be, do we want to invest more in the container D path, the CLI path, or the Docker plugin? So yeah, like the two big question is, what are they trying to validate, and
Okay.
where are they, which phase during the deployment they are trying to validate? It's the top of my mind. Anything to add, E?
I think in general, because Josh will be there, I think maybe there could be some general questions on like how whether they assign container images and where they want to validate on AKS cluster, on any other cluster, or any container engine they prefer, and also for our next step, we will be focusing on, for example, multi-arc images, attestations. We can also ask user whether any other artifact they are interested in validation, so that yeah, this will help us to understand the user needs. And of course, if some user they are already using Ratify, we can ask any issues or improvements they suggested. Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I've lost the other one. So I've captured multi-arc. What's the other one? I think you mentioned another one.
Attestations.
Attestations. Yes, thank you.
One question. Is the admission controller currently only able to do pods, or like or is that in the template where it defines what resource that it's gonna do the admission control for? I think I remember Akash mentioning that you could modify that to target a deployment or some different kind of resource if it's configurable.
Yeah, it's not just for pod.
Okay. Good. Okay, so I'll have to look. I think would that be in the template config, bin?
Yeah, I need to confirm where we configure that, but it basically like all the Kubernetes resources can be like validated for the admission control.
Awesome. Yeah, because I know there's the constraint template, and then there's some other, I'm forgetting the name of it, that you deploy when you're kind of setting it up. I think that's what needed to be modified. I think for Bill last year, Akash gave me a kind of like a mock template of what that would look like. And the reason I'm asking is because I've been working on signing WASM components that are OCI registry artifacts now. Um, but depending on how you deploy them to Kubernetes, they could either be an application type from Kubernetes or they could be a pod. So I was just curious about that.
Yeah, I'm just bringing up the sample constraint. Like right now, we are.
Okay, yep, I remember that now.
Yeah.
Cool.
But like this is the only one that we've experimented with. Like, is there any other kinds that we should try, Josh?
Application would be one.
Sure.
That is what WASM Cloud uses to deploy the components. And then I think Spin does deploy it technically in a pod. So then that would kind of match a containers paradigm. And nothing would need to change on Ratify side there. But those are the only two that I could think of.
Cool. Let us know if it works. We've never
We'll
tried
do.
it.
Yeah, I've had a fun time working with the signatures for it, but I got it working. I got cosign working the other day and notation as well.
That's great.
Yeah, but neither of those tools know how to handle a WASM component, so they sign it as it's a container image, which it really doesn't matter from a signature perspective. Just the metadata doesn't match. Like it's not actually a Docker container; it's a component which has a different makeup, but it works.
Yeah, I think that is also a good scenario for Ratify to support this WebSum application, right? So maybe later on, Josh, once you're back from KubeCon, you can bring more information. This could be,
Certainly.
yeah, potential needs on this. Yeah.
Just taking notes here, like we talked about. Yeah, I guess the question is, do we support other kind? And validating.
And actually from community, and did we try other kind before? We only use pod, right? We also didn't try other resource. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not aware. I'm not aware of trying anything else other than pods.
I tinkered with deployment and had varying success. Some artifacts in a deployment would still deploy, I think like a service and stuff. So it wasn't a full stopgap, but it would stop the pods in the deployment from going. But that's been over a year since I did anything with that.
And Josh, for the WASM one, did I capture that? Like it's you sign the WASM as container image.
Yeah, so it's essentially signing the OCI artifact that contains the WASM component, which is from an OCI perspective almost identical to container because it's an image manifest that then has the makeup of the artifact. But from a signature perspective, it's really just the payload and then the image manifest that the signatures care about or the signing tools.
Let's put that in the notes so Akash can read later. Yeah. Cool. I think we're at time now. Thanks everyone. Any other topics?
I'm glad I remembered that the time shift happened and I just finished up eating. So I'm glad that I made it just in time.
Yep.
Yeah. Thank you, Josh.
1 hour for me, 2 hours for the time of the meeting. It's really confusing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, as a general rule, like all these multi-time zone meetings, we're now trying to pin them to UTC
good.
as much as we can. So whenever we go into daylight saving, whatnot, because Josh, you and I go into daylight saving different times of the year.
It makes it even more interesting.
Yeah, so it's better to pin it. All right. Thanks for joining, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.